Unscripted, unshackled, uncouth.
What you're about to hear is for more mature audiences only.
It's Miguel and Holly, Uncensored.
Hello and welcome to Miguel and Holly Uncensored. This is our off-air podcast that we do 3 times a week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Also our Sunday sessions that you can also listen to as well. We also have our other podcasts like Miguel and Holly Queen City Confessions and Blown Off. There is a plethora of different podcasts for you to listen to.
Yes.
So please take a listen, share it with a friend. Everybody should just do that. One friend. Just be like, hey, do you listen to podcasts? You should check this out.
Right.
And it could be any of them.
What do you say when people are like, what is your podcast about?
It depends on which one you're talking about. Like Uncensored.
The Uncensored?
I say it's about pop culture, our lives in an unfiltered way.
Yeah. I'm always like, and we get a little crazy. So just be prepared. If you want something a little more tame, listen to the Full Show podcast.
What do you say, Kelvin?
No one ever asked me about the Miguel and Holly podcast. Yeah. I feel like the people I interact with are Miguel and Holly fan members, and so they already know. So I never have to pitch that.
Yeah, that's what I say too, though. I'm always like, oh, it's about pop
us.
culture and our lives and all kind of crazy stuff. It's real crazy, though. So that's what I say.
I have a couple of things I want to talk about today on the podcast.
Okay.
Things that I came across my plate in preparing for the show this week. And I'm curious, how many of these phrases do each of us use? These are phrases lazy people use to fool their bosses into thinking they're working hard. How many of these phrases have we used? I've got a lot on my plate right now. Has anyone used that before?
No, I've never used that one, actually. Because I feel like it sounds like you don't really have a lot on your plate right now. Do you use it?
I've never used it. I've definitely have told Miguel, like I'll be in the middle of a call uploading something on social media, and then he'll be like, oh, and Kelvin, and I'll be like, Miguel, give me a second. That's my version of I have a lot on my plate. I always say, like, just give me a second. Give me a second.
I have, but not when it comes to just doing something like random. It's usually when there's like an event and it's like the day before and they're like, hey, can you do this thing? And 9 times out of 10, I'm going to say yes and be a team player and do it.
Yeah.
But there's the few times where it's like 7 o'clock on a Wednesday. And I'm like, I've got a lot on my plate right now.
Yeah. Well, I don't feel like that's that's too much.
I don't think that's a lazy thing.
Yeah, I don't think that's a lazy thing. I think that's good boundaries.
And you genuinely do have
a lot
on your plate.
Wait.
Like you're not gonna say no. You're not gonna say yes to something if you have like something scheduled at that time. Like that's why I feel like you'd say no.
But I have used that in the past.
Okay.
What about just circling back on that? Feigns follow up without delivery, non-committal, and often signals a little action. Just circling back on that. Have you used that before?
Wait, it's lazy to say I'm circling back on that?
Phrases lazy people use to fool their bosses into thinking they're working hard.
Oh, I've probably used a variation of circling back, but it's probably in a time when I needed to hear from someone and I was literally circling back.
Yeah. Yeah, same.
Mine usually, if I'm using that phrase, just circling back on that, it's usually because like there are sometimes in email culture in the workplace.
There is email culture in all workplaces.
There is, where it's like you just get shut off these like just email after email after email after email. And then it's like you try to always stay on top of it. But then some things just fall through the cracks. And then I'm just like, I'm just circling back on that. Like I will like, but then a lot of times I'll just be like, I'm sorry. Like there was a video I was supposed to do before I left for vacation. And then one of our promotions assistants was like, hey, and I'm like, girl, sorry. I tried to get everything off my to-do list, but that one just slipped.
Yeah, and that's possible. Like I have had to go back to people sometimes several times, but I always am so stressed out to do it because I don't want to appear like I'm bothering them. So I typically wouldn't say the phrase I'm circling back because it sounds so cliche. I'm just circling back. Like I would just be like, "Hey, I'm so sorry. I don't want to bother you. I'm just checking in." Usually I'm just checking.
This one, I've used this one a lot. These are phrases lazy people use to fool their bosses into thinking they're working hard. Been meaning to get to that. Suggest intent without execution, procrastination dressed as responsibility. Been meaning to get to that.
Who doesn't, though, at some point say they've been meaning to get to a thing?
But were you truly ever meaning to get to it, or was it the email reminder that made you go, oh, yeah?
Now that you reminded me, I've been meaning to get to it. Now that I know that it is actually something you expect, I've been meaning to get to it. But until, like, maybe I thought it was like, he didn't really mean that. And then if he circled back, I'm like, oh, shit, I've been meaning to get to that.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Kelvin?
I'm pretty sure I've used that. Yes, absolutely.
I'm letting the ideas come to me. Presented as creative incubation, but usually stalls work instead. I've used that in like the real sense of the term, and like, yeah, I forgot, and now just give me another moment to come up with something.
Absolutely. 100% yes.
Right, because there are times when they'll be like, hey, boss man Trevor will be like, we have this crazy great prize, this fall that we want to give away. How do we want to do it? And I'm not one to just be like,
boom,
let's throw all of us out of a box in front of the building, and then that's how we'll give the prize away. I'm like, no. Sometimes I do need time to just think of something.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm creating space for what's next. Implies forward thinking, but often mask inaction and indecisiveness. I'm creating space for what's next.
That doesn't even sound real. That sounds like corporate culture jargon. Oh, I'm just creating space for what's next so that we can synchronize our workflow.
But I mean, this is the thing you say. It's not real. Like a lot of my friends here in Charlotte do work white collar jobs. And the things that they talk about and that they say, like how they'll be on the phone with a coworker. And I'm like, why do you sound like that? Like, that's not how you really sound in real life.
That's not what real people say.
Like, I could not imagine working in like a corporate environment where
you're have like, to use that.
Yeah. Well, you're sitting in a meeting and you're like, I'm really creating space for what's next. So just give me a moment to really circle back on what you just said.
That does sound
BS,
lazy.
Though. It sounds super BS.
It does. If you get that from your boss.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Or it sounds like a dude bro that absolutely is hungover in the office and he's like, oh man, I'm creating space for what's next. So like it just sounds fake. But I guess I am not clearly I'm not in the corporate scene. So I don't understand how people speak like this.
No,
it feels fake.
Yeah, I don't like. I feel like if I was young, I mean, we can always learn, we can always adapt.
Yeah.
And if something happened and I had to go work at, Wells Fargo, Truist here in Charlotte, then I'd gotta put on my corporate hat. And
I could just see you wearing like a little button up with your little boots. With your bag and you're like walking, click, click, walking, and then you get to the office and maybe you have a headset. You just be so smug about it.
Be like, look at me. I'm working on the 51st floor of Truist Tower. Yeah. Yes.
Lunch break.
Okay. Here's another phrase that lazy people use to fool their bosses into thinking they're working hard. I'm waiting on someone else. Shifts blame for inaction. Often there's no real dependency or follow-up. I'm waiting on someone else.
Well, that's just passing the buck. I mean, what if you are waiting on someone else, though?
But have you ever used it, though, like, and you truly weren't waiting on someone else?
No, I can't lie like that. Not like that. Because if I'm ever going to lie, I want to make sure that I can back up my lie in some capacity
Say
because
Yes. You know
because
what?
if I'm like, oh, I'm waiting on someone else, and like our boss man Trevor was like, oh, who are you waiting on? I'd be like, I don't know. Like I can't.
It's got to be foolproof.
Yes, I would not just say nonsense like that.
Yeah, no, that's way too much, and then it
Yeah.
complicates things.
Yes,
Mm.
it does. Yeah.
I feel like I've said that before, but like I'm trying to think in like what occasion would I have said I'm waiting on someone else, because our jobs are so specific when it comes to like we're not usually depending upon a lot of other people for things. It's us that it falls in on.
Yeah.
But probably like something with sales, like a commercial, or like I was waiting on a script from the salesperson, and so that's why I didn't get it.
Right.
AKA, I totally forgot.
Right. Maybe that. Maybe
Yeah.
that, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm multitasking right now. Attempts to look busy, but multitasking reduces real productivity dramatically.
Thank you for that stat, because I finally started just admitting I can't multitask.
Mm.
I am not a multitasker. I appreciate very much the people who can, but I always come back to that stat where it's like, if you're multitasking, you're technically not doing any of those things well. And I don't multitask well because my brain just doesn't split in those ways. I got to do one thing and then move to the next and then the next.
I agree. I stopped midway.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's I mean, BuzzFeed will tell me it's ADHD, but I don't
Right.
really know if that's accurate. But yeah,
I feel like everything is ADHD these days.
right.
But I feel like if this is what will happen to me is I guess I could consider it, and this is at home, not at work. Like if I'm on a Saturday morning, I'm like, oh, I want to make sure I get a load of laundry running. So I'm getting the laundry, and then I realize that the toilet's super dirty. So I'm like, oh, I'll put that in a second. So I'll like clean the toilet. But then while I'm doing that, I'm like, oh my God, I should vacuum this real quick. So I'm like, that might be multitasking, but I'm not doing any of it well because I should have just done the laundry, come back, got the cleaning stuff, did the bathroom. And so, yeah, to me, I'm not even going to use multitasking as an excuse because I don't do it well.
That part.
I think I do multitask well.
I bet you do. I bet you do.
I mean, I think that doing this job, like specifically like my responsibilities, you have to be a multitasker.
Probably so.
Because I have to be able to like, you know, when we're in the middle of a segment, I'm thinking about what's next. I'm also making sure that we're on time. I'm also looking, are there texts coming in that we need to respond to in the middle of that segment? I think the only time during doing this job that I don't multitask, that I stay focused, is when I put the show together, just because it's like a puzzle and there are so many parts and pieces. But when we're actually executing the show, I multitask well, I feel like, because I don't normally let the ball drop. And so that's why I think I've always been able to multitask, even like at home, like doing chores. Like to me, it's fun to be like, all right, how many balls can I juggle in the air while I'm trying to get it done? So let's start the dishwasher. Let's start Opratron to start vacuuming. Let's put a load of laundry in. But then while that load is going, let's hang up the clothes that were just finished. And then also while I'm in the bathroom hanging up our shirts, let me clean the toilet really quick. And then to me, that's like, I enjoy that sort of thing, to see how many things can I get done at one time.
Yeah.
Enjoy is a choice word.
It is.
It's a choice of a word.
That's a choice. I mean, I'm doing all that stuff, sometimes against my own, like, I'm like, if I don't do this, who's going to do it? So that I'm doing like 5 million things, but I don't,
Yes.
I would like to do them one at a time, but yeah, I end up doing things out of order and it stresses me out.
Same.
Another phrase that lazy people use to fool their bosses into thinking they're working hard. It's on my to-do list. Signals intention without commitment. The list may exist, but there's no timeline.
I have used that one.
That one I would star, underline, bold, put in red. Yes.
That's a good one.
Yeah. But I actually do have a to-do list. Like I do every day. I have my little book here and I write my to-do list. Here's what I need to get done today. Now, here's where I mess up is like today, I have one thing on my to-do list. It's just to make sure that the 5 a.m. hour is done tomorrow morning, because I will continually forget that after 3 years of doing it here. But then like yesterday, my to-do list was pretty long and I probably got through half of it. But then I'll get through today and then forget that I had that other half on the day before.
Yeah.
And then 2 days later, our boss Trevor will be like, hey, did you get me those liners? I'm like, It's literally on my to-do list, but from Tuesday. And today's Friday.
We have turned the page already.
So that's where my to-do list does fuck me up sometimes.
That makes sense.
And then I think we've all used this one. I was just about to do that. A face-saving excuse when called out implies readiness rather than taken action. I do that a lot when it comes to my extra commercials I have to do outside of the show. Because that just slips my mind a lot of times, especially for ones that aren't updated all the time.
Yeah.
And then I'll get an email from one of our salespeople be like, hey, Miguel, did you do that? I'm like, oh,
you're like,
so funny you messaged me.
I literally was doing it right now. That's so weird.
I actually have your last email from 2 weeks ago pulled up, so I'm about to do it now.
Whoop. Yeah. That was a good one, though. I feel like because you can't really check that one.
Mhm.
Maybe you were really about to do it.
Right, because how do you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And then the last one for phrases lazy people use to fool their bosses into thinking they're working hard. I've been swamped. Portrays overload without delivery. Often the results don't reflect the claim busyness.
I would never. There's something in me that I could not use that as a lie. If I'm actually not, you know what I mean?
Like if you're not swamped.
Right.
Yeah.
There's something there I wouldn't like doing. I will let you know when I'm swamped.
Right. If I am swamped, I will probably let you know. But I could probably take on a lot before I feel swamped.
Right. I mean, I think that I have in the past when I was younger, I would say that I was swamped and I believed I was swamped, but I wasn't. I was actually like taking breaks and, well, I'm at home, so I'm going to get to it. And then, well, why didn't you do it? I was swamped. I was really stressed out and I couldn't get to it.
That makes sense.
I feel like also as humans, we get to use one of those.
Oh, absolutely.
Once in a while.
You get one or two in your pocket. Yeah.
Well, there you go. Phrases lazy people use to fool their bosses into thinking they're working hard. If you ever want to pull some of those out at work.
So the bosses are apparently onto us, I guess.
Noted.
And then the other thing I wanted to bring up that I thought was interesting that we could go down is a survey of 2,000 adults unveiled the top 10 most cherished life moments, including holding a newborn for the first time, witnessing a baby's first steps, and receiving keys to a first home. Other memories mentioned were bidding farewell to a loved one, a child's first day at school, and experiencing first love. But Brits on average, because this is from Britain, Brits on average encounter 5 unforgettable events annually, with 76% believing these shape their identities. So what are just some like events that sort of like stick out in your mind as something that is unforgettable?
And it could be a good or a bad thing?
Yep, absolutely. It's an unforgettable life moment. Like for me, one of mine will always be when I first moved into Holly's place.
Me too.
We'd only met once before.
Yep.
And here I come with this U-Haul and my friend Michael and Adam helping me. And I just
coming up those stairs.
And I got my boxes and I'm like, girl, this old pots and pans, I just bought some last year, girl. We can use mine. We can put yours in storage.
We did.
Like what? What?
I was like, okay, hey, it's fine. I'm fine. It's fine.
Because to me, I always look at that moment as like how I try to remind myself how amendable I used to be. How I was just like, I'm gonna just move in with this woman I've only met once, and we're just gonna do it.
Yeah, and my mom was like, "Wait, you're getting a roommate? Who?" And I was like, "I mean, it's fine. I met him. He's nice."
Right.
She's like, all right. Yeah.
And now, if somebody like asked me to go to dinner on a Wednesday night at like 5 o'clock, I'm like, ooh.
I know, like,
girl, that's a stretch.
I do think about
you
that.
Have
like,
moved in with a stranger.
Yeah, you literally drove states away, walked up this white woman's steps, and said, "Hey, I'm gonna move your pots and pans."
Your ancestors were proud.
Yeah. Yeah.
They say, "You get her, girl, get her." Yes.
I was gonna say I was trying to prep reparations.
You did your part.
I did my part. Even though we weren't the Southern slavers, but that's
No,
okay.
no.
I'm taking up for those that were.
Yeah.
I'm trying. Anyway, but one of mine would be moving to Florida for sure, because God, the audacity of young me, she was way more like just whatever, I'll do it. Now, God, I don't know. I mean, I think I still have that spirit for things, but not the same things probably.
Right.
But like that move was just so crazy. I think Maya was asking me, she's like, well, why did you move to Florida? And I was like, because they offered me a job. It could have been anywhere that had offered me a job. It was just, I was like, and there was a beach.
Right.
It's like, hey, why not? I had been watching at the time, so this was like 2007. I had been watching this show called North Shore on like NBC or CBS or something. And it was about this, it was only probably one season, and it was about a hotel on one of the Hawaiian Islands. And it was about the staff of that hotel and like the crazy drama that goes on there. And I just felt like it was so sexy and glamorous. And so when I got to Panama City, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be like them on the beach as a young professional. And then I got there and it was not quite that. But I pretended it was for a long time. Anyway, but yeah, my mom had come to drive me down. And so it took 2 days. Like we started the drive, and it was December, by the way. So it was like cold up there, and we drove, and I was fine. I had been totally fine. And then we got to around Alabama, and we stayed the night, and we're going to finish the drive the next day. And we got into that hotel room in Alabama, and I realized I didn't live anywhere. And I was just like, oh my God. And I just started sobbing. Like I was just wrecked. And so that was really, I don't know. It was just a lot of different feelings. And then my mom had to leave pretty much right away. So she like dropped me off at the hotel in Panama City. And she said she always regretted that. But I was like, you had to get back to work. Like I wasn't mad. So she did. And then I was just living in this hotel in Panama City. So yeah, that was that literally changed the course of my entire life.
Kelvin, what's an unforgettable life moment for you?
I think kind of in the same vein of like career-wise, for me, I remember May 4th, 2020, I get the phone call from my boss, Jill Strada, and she's like, we are going to put you on mornings alongside Kimmy B and Al P, and you guys will become the SoFlo Morning Show. And I just remember during that time, just a few months before that, like right before the pandemic, end of 2019, my coworker, who is also my best friend, Dia, we were trying to build something together. And at the time we were recording, and during that time frame, I had kind of separated myself from the station Monday through Friday because I needed to make some sort of income. So I was always available on the weekends, or if they needed me to pop in here and there, I could. But I was a social media manager at the time. So I was doing that Monday through Friday. Then, in the evenings, I would go and record with Dia. So we could come up with a package, work on our chemistry, and we would be there till like 1 a.m. sometimes. So we were just working really, really, really hard while she was also being the APD, low-key PD of the station at the time. So I just remember grinding a lot. That was when TikTok was starting to kind of rev up, and our boss was like, we wanted to come up with this kind of Gen Z style sort of show. So we were creating content while also doing, air checks. And I remember Steve Smith, RIP, he even sat down and coached us a bit, which was really important for me because that was one of the first times that like finally somebody cared what I had to say, or somebody cared about my talent. That you know how we treat part-timers in this industry. It's not until you become a full-timer, it's really where they have the scope on you, which makes sense. You have to focus on your shows. So anyways, I just felt very seen and heard during that time. And fast forward, the pandemic happens, and everything that we've done just doesn't really matter because we're trying to keep a station afloat. We're trying to make radio relevant. We're also trying to survive this whole new era of this virus. And I just kind of remember Dia telling me, like, I think they're working on something. I'm really not sure. I really don't know what's happening. And it just happened to have been May 4th, 2020. And we get the phone call, and I'm like, oh, that's who I'm doing a show with. Okay, great. Like, I wasn't disappointed. I was just very confused. So it was a blindside, but not really a bad blindside. I was just like, oh my God, finally, I fucking made it. Like, I'm doing mornings in Miami. This is incredible. And I just remember, and we FaceTimed really that day. There was not much we could do to go out and celebrate, but I remember that. I remember setting up. Jill didn't come up with the SoFlo morning show. That was all us. But anyways, we did that. We started to plan. We started getting really excited. We set up a photo shoot. That was during a time where I was getting into my fitness journey as well. So I was like feeling really good as well. So that was all just like a really beautiful time. Just getting my first opportunity.
Yeah.
I remember one of my unforgettable moments career-wise is when Holly and I got offered the job in Tampa the second time around for Hot 101.5. And I remember there were so many feelings so many different conflicting feelings.
Yeah.
Because they had offered us the job to host on Hot 101.5, but it was a lot less pay than what our counterpart Kramer had gotten at another station in Tampa. Knowing what he made and then knowing what they were offering us. And it was just sort of like, wow, you get the dream job, but then they fucking pull the rug out from underneath you. And then to even like rub your face in it, they were like, well, we just want Holly and Miguel, not your co-host Mandy. And I remember, to me, that was one of the decisions I always say and how I became a man. Is
you do reference this all the time.
And
it's true.
It is, because everybody, our agent at the time, our boss that was going to be hiring us in Tampa, they all were like, well, all three of you went on this interview. We only want two of you. So one of us, either our agent or the boss, will tell her that she's not being offered the position. And I said, no, it has to be me. I have to do it. And like, I look back at that moment when the easy thing would have just been to let one of them be like, hey, they're going to offer the job to Miguel and Holly. We're so sorry. Here are the reasons why. But I just felt like, because the three of us had gone on this interview, we had been working together, and I said, we're going to go together. And I was the one that was going to break a promise. It had to be me to look this woman in her eyes and say, I'm reneging on my word.
Yeah.
And so I remember like driving over to her house, and I remember driving to the ocean first. We were in Panama City, and I remember like sitting on the ocean. I'm like, how the fuck do I even say this? Like, how do the words come out?
Moment.
A lot of things happen on the beach. That's how I made the decision to move to Panama City Beach. I was on the beach.
Right. It's just so calming, and I was like, you just got to do it. Like there are no. That's when I really learned too. Sometimes, you know how I always say that there's always a way to say something. Sometimes there's not. Sometimes the words you're going to say, they're just going to fucking sting and they're going to suck. And there's no way to cushion it.
Yeah.
It just sucks.
Yeah. And
I just remember walking into her mom's house.
With the baby.
They handed me her new baby that had just been born.
He was not even 6 months old.
No.
Probably.
And then I'm just sitting there and I'm like, I'm about to just deliver some awful news to your mom. Oh my God. And then I was like, because like the human the human body, we don't like to feel bad. And so we will do anything possible to not feel bad. And in my mind at that moment, I was like, what if I just say, I just want to see the new baby, and then I get back in the car, call our agent Norm and say, you know what, you do it. You know what, I can't. And I was like, I'm already here. This is what a man does. He faces when he's wrong, and he has going back on his word, and I have to do it. I'll never forget going back into this guest room, and then she kind of knew at that moment, but I give Mandy props because she was like, you gonna say these damn words to me. I'm not gonna let you off easy. She was like, what? And then I started crying, and she was like, what? And then I had to say the words, and then she was like, okay.
Oh God!
With the baby in your hands?
No, the baby had been
taken. By that point, she must snatch the baby up out of your hands. At that point,
give me my fucking kid.
And then too, that was a moment where, after that, she was understandably upset. that she didn't come into the show. And that was the first time in my life that I truly understood what it means to hurt someone. Not, I mean, I hate to say the word intentionally, because it's not like we were like, we're going to do this. But it was like, because of our decisions we made, we were going to hurt someone. And so just living in that and just knowing that you hurt someone deeply.
Yeah.
But there's nothing you can do about it.
Right. You're going to be the villain in some people's stories.
Right. Right.
You really are. And
you
I mean,
also were a good friend during that time as well, because not only were you becoming a man, but you also, I think morality played an issue, like not an issue, played a role in this, like that is fucked up to hear that what you had to tell her through a boss.
Right.
You just would have looked like a coward.
Right.
So
right.
You definitely did the right thing.
I wanted her to hear it from me, but I think that also in us going to Tampa and getting a bigger job in a bigger city, it also made me learn how to own up to my mistakes. And because before, Holly, remember, like, I would never, like, if something was my fault, I'd be like, I don't know.
Well, to be fair, it was really scary to take ownership for a mistake back in the day. So
it was
easier to just be like,
I don't know. It's like, it was Holly, I think. I don't know.
We would always throw each other on the bus.
Be like, you gotta take one for the team, Holly, because I don't know. It wasn't me today.
Be like, all right, here we go. I'll roll my sleeves up. Let's go ahead. It's my fault today. Anyway.
But now I'm like, all right, cool. I fucked up. My fault.
It still sits with you though. I mean, it sucks. That feeling sucks no matter where you are in your life. It always sucks. Yeah. Man, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes it feels like it wasn't, but
10
it
years.
was. 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like some of the ones that you were reading about from the survey or whatever, it had a lot to do with your kids. And I was trying to think about like a moment that I have with Maya, but there's just, as a parent, it's just, there's so many little things that you don't even think about. Like, I keep a little note on my phone with all of the interesting things that Maya has been through since she was born. Like, one of them was like, oh, here comes tooth number 1 when she's like 6 months old or whatever. And then it's up till recently where it's whatever it is that was recent. Went to sleepaway camp for the first time. So I have all these little moments tucked away, but like weirdly, like I remember, the first time you hold your baby, right? And I did a whole podcast about this where it's like, I didn't feel that sudden, like, this is the love that I've been waiting for. Hallelujah. Like I didn't have that, but at the same time, like I will never forget them placing her right here. And I was just like, it's such a surreal moment because you've been carrying around this kid for 9 months on the inside, but you can't see it. It's like disconnected. You're like, well, my body's doing a thing, but like I don't have a baby yet, so that's weird. And then suddenly you don't have a baby in there, you have a baby out here, and there's like a literal they're so fucking tiny, tiny little thing. And I was like, oh boy. I was like, I will keep you safe. I promise. I'll keep you safe. That's the only thing I could think to say.
Right.
Because it was just so like
I can't imagine.
Meta almost.
Childbirth. What a concept.
What a concept. I was not prepared. And I'm like a researcher, maybe I was researching the wrong things, but like I was truly did not understand what was about to happen when I went to, like, I had the contract, and I used to tell the story to Maya all the time. She liked hearing it, the contraction story when I went into labor, and I was supposed to be at work that afternoon.
We had a concert at the station.
We did. And so I didn't feel good. And I had called Miguel and I was like, I just don't really feel good. I don't know. I might be having contractions. I'm trying to come in. He's like, girl, sit down. I was like
down.
So far over pregnant, by the way. I was like 2 weeks past my due date. So anyway, yeah, that was just childbirth in general. Like every moment of that I remember, except like you don't really remember the pain, which is probably why people can have multiple kids. Like you don't remember how painful it truly is. But one thing that always sticks out in my mind, and this is the stupidest thing that I've never shared with anybody, but like it's so dumb. All the things from like walking the halls of the hospital to like getting in that bed and like having to move my leg, all this stuff. But I was in a bathroom at one point in the hospital room. And I looked up, and you know how they have hooks on the back of the door, like a hook for your clothes
Jacket
or whatever. It looked like an octopus, like those hooks.
Yes.
They have 2 screws in them, so they're eyeballs, and then the hooks come on. it looked like a drunk octopus, and I'm like, oh my God, if I die in childbirth, I'm always gonna remember this drunken octopus, and that's the last thing I saw. Like every time I now see a drunken octopus looking hook, I'm like, oh, childbirth. It's like it was burned in my brain. So anyway, that part of it. But yeah, just having a baby is wild. It's wild.
Kelvin?
Another memory.
Mm-hmm.
Finding, I guess not finding. I was working at Bass Pro Shops randomly one day, and I see what becomes my dog, Benji. He just random dog. I was greeting, I think. I don't really remember what I was doing. I was bullshitting a lot at Bass Pro Shops. I would just walk around, depending on what position I was in, whether I was like in apparel or I was in credit cards. I would just be walking around, socializing.
That does not surprise me.
Yeah, just having a good time. And I remember being at the greeter stand, and all of a sudden, I just see this dog waltz on in. And if you've gone to a Bass Pro Shops, especially the one in Miami, you have to go through, the outside area is full of boats. So I'm not sure where this dog came from because he looked rough, like dirty. His hair had been extremely long, and he just randomly waltzes in to Bass Pro Shops. Literally just goes, passes by. In Bass Pro Shops, you have that little thing where you push through. It's like the bars that you have to go
turnstile?
Yes.
Mhm.
So he just walks like past that. Obviously, he's super tiny, so he doesn't, touch it. But he walks past by it. He's walking towards the center of the store, just randomly, and then all of a sudden we like do a little kissy sound, like, come over here. And he turns around, he listens, and immediately comes back, and we're like, what the fuck? From that point on, I remember my coworker was like, well, I'm about to go on break. Like, I'm just going to take him back home with me. I don't know. He just seems really cute. And I was like, okay, go ahead. Like, take him. That's so weird. And then a month later, we go to the beach. It was like a random Tuesday. This is where I miss going to college because my classes were like Monday, Wednesdays. So Tuesdays and Thursdays, beach days, go to Miami Beach. And I remember we went, got drunk, had a great time. I remember coming back to his place to just kind of settle down a little bit. And I remember him telling me, hey, I just became full-time at Bass Pro Shops. And like, I don't think I can really take care of this dog anymore. And I'm like, why? He's super adorable. He's well-trained. He's like, yeah, but I'm kind of gone the whole day and I don't expect my mom to really take care of him. Do you want to take care of him? And I looked at him, we looked at each other, and I was like, okay, sure.
See, it's that young thing of being like, oh, who cares?
Here we
Take a
go.
dog.
Sure.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Right.
So I remember taking him back home, and the first thing that he did was pee on my mom's furniture, the rug in our living room. And that was it. I think that's all he ever did. That was like the one and only time he's ever peed inside the house. I think he was just like marking his new territory. And yeah, I just remember just raising him from that point on and just learning his quirks and just being the best dog ever. I remember my mom would walk him in the afternoon while I was working in the daytime, and she trained him to immediately go straight to the bathtub after a walk because she was always very like germophobic, and she was like, nope, you know exactly where we're going to after this walk. And he was trained. I remember having a Vine video that I made of him walking and just open the door. He goes straight to the bathroom, jumps right into the tub.
Oh, wow.
So
Once
yeah,
you just hose him down each time?
every single time you would have a little mini shower after
Oh
every
my
walk.
God. Well, you can do that with small dogs. I
Yeah.
used to do that with Nala sometimes. Like, you could just easily throw them in the tub and just kind of wash them up. But like big dogs, you can't do that.
Yes. No, I can't do that with Jimbo.
No, can't do that with Teddy.
So yeah, so I remember just meeting him, taking care of him, obviously his death as well, which is
Right.
not a core memory I would like, but
But there it is.
it's
Yeah,
there.
it's an unforgettable
it.
life moment.
Yes.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
I'll close out with my in my now almost 8-year relationship with Abe. There are like between my fingers, my toes, more fingers, toes. The amount of times he's seen me cry
Oh.
is just
Well, yeah.
a lot.
Dozens and dozens.
Him only 3 times. And the last time was 3 times. One, it was when he was making the decision to go from working at the AC company to taking his painting company full time. And he was very stressed about that. And he just like bust out crying. And we'd only known each other for about a year. And I was like, whoa, you don't cry.
That was a time.
It was very stressful because when Abe and I first got together, he traveled every week. So he was always gone with his AC company. And so that was very stressful for him. And I was just trying to be there for him. And then the second time was when we watched the show Lovecraft Country. And there is a scene that deals with racism and Black people. And I just remember him crying and telling me to pause the show and was like, is that how you feel as a Black person around white people sometimes? And I'm like, yes. And I just remember him I think that's when he understood what it meant to be a minority and how life is different and just how we walk about life. And the last time is at our wedding, where when we were doing our vows and like I was like tearing up and he got through his and he was fine. It was good. And I was the one who was like, I love you. Oh my God. And then once we, kiss, walk back down the aisle, our wedding planner put us into this little room and I look at him and I'm like, we did it. And then, because when Abe cries, like mine, you can it's coming. You can hear it. His is just like a switch flips. And he was just like, oh my God. Oh my God. And I was like, oh my God, are you okay?
It's a lot.
And he was just like, all the emotions just hit me when I walked in the room. And I was like, oh my God. Yeah. So those 3 moments I'll always remember when Abe cried, because it's always just like someone goes, whoop, they flip that switch and it just comes on all of a sudden.
Let's make a fourth.
Oh, man. Make Abe cry.
Yeah.
Oh, let's not. Kelvin, how can people find you on social media?
Find me, love me, choose me at Kelvin Live.
Holly?
Mine is Radio Holly.
And speaking of crying, the reel I put together yesterday, it took me an hour and a half of sort of like my trip compilation.
Okay.
Of the Europe cruise and all that stuff. I fucking finished it, put a song on it, cried watching it back for the final time before I posted it. And I was like, oh God, this is such a magical time. So you can go take a look at that.
Okay.
On my TikTok or Instagram at Miguel Fuller. And we will see you all back here on Friday.
Miguel and Holly Uncensored.
Catch it on the